Hello everyone, welcome to Easy Biology. The topic is about respiration, the energy releasing system. After the food is digested, before distribution of food to the total body, the food has to get oxidized. Okay, this oxidation of food materials occurs in a life process called respiration. What is respiration? The process of inhaling and exhaling air is called respiration. And respiration is the process which is not only about inhalation and exhalation, it is also related to production of body heat. Production of body heat. The word respiration came from Latin language, means Latin word called respire, which means to breathe. Okay, respiration is the process of inhalation and exhalation of air, and also it is concerned with production of body heat. At the same time, the respiration word came from Latin language. It is derived from Latin language called respire, which means to breathe. Discovery of gases and respiration. Discovery of gases and respiration. Lavoisier, after conducting a series of experiments, so what are the experiments he performed is, he taken powdered charcoal, which is a form of coal. A form of coal is charcoal. He taken it in the form of powder, and he placed it in a trough of water. In a trough of water, he placed powdered charcoal, and he supplied heat. He burnt the powdered charcoal in a trough of water. When he burnt, he observed that some gas is evolving when the powdered charcoal is continuously burning. Some gas is evolving. He called it as fixed air. In those days, fixed air, carbon dioxide is called fixed air in those days. Carbon dioxide is called fixed air. And he also conducted experiment on phosphorus also. So basing on the experiments he performed on powdered charcoal and phosphorus, he said one statement. What is the statement is, either air itself or any other elastic fluid, either air itself or any other elastic fluid present in certain proportions, either air itself or any other elastic fluid present in certain proportions in air is supporting the burning. And this is which we also breathe. So which is supporting, according to the statement, which is supporting burning, he also saying that gas we are also breathing. Okay, so what is that gas according to Lavoisier? About which gas he is saying is about oxygen. Okay, either powdered charcoal is burning because of the support of oxygen. Even phosphorus also burning because of oxygen. Any substance is burning because of the presence of oxygen, because oxygen supports burning. Next, steps in respiration. What are the steps in respiration is, the first step is breathing. So we breathe air and gaseous exchange at lungs level. Gaseous exchange at lungs level means what? Oxygen enters into the lungs and carbon dioxide leave the lungs. And when oxygen enters into lungs, from lungs the oxygen goes to blood, means the blood takes that oxygen and do transportation. So transportation of oxygen by blood. Then the blood give this oxygen to tissues to perform respiration. That is called tissue respiration or respiration in tissues. And finally, we call it as cellular respiration, because each and every cell in our body perform respiration. So these are the steps involved in respiration. Next, a person named John Dapper, he mentioned in his book, he wrote a book on human physiology. In which he mentioned that because of substances like glucose, oxygen, water, means because of the combination of these three, life exists. Because of the reactions between these, life exists. And as a result of these reactions, what expel out is oxides of carbon, phosphorus, sulfur, etc. So John Dapper, he wrote a book on human physiology and stated that because of the reactions occur between glucose, oxygen and water, the life exists or arises. As a result, what expel outside? Because of these reactions, what are removed from the cells or body means oxides of carbon, phosphorus and sulfur, etc. Next, pathway of air. So this is the pathway. First, air goes to nose through nostrils to nasal cavity to pharynx, pharynx to larynx, larynx to bronchus to bronchioles to alveoli or alveolus, and finally goes to blood. Okay, so this is the pathway of respiratory system or pathway of air. This is the flow chart of respiratory system. Air enters into the body through nose, nostrils, nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, and here one more part is there, that is the trachea. Trachea to bronchus. Nose, nostrils, nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchus, bronchioles, alveoli. Finally it goes to blood, and then the blood distributes the oxygen to total cells in the body. So we will discuss about each and every part. Pathway of air. The openings are called nostrils, and the cavity of nose is called nasal cavity, and this is the pharynx part, and here is the epiglottis. This is the larynx, trachea, and this branch is called right bronchus, and this is the left bronchus. Next, so this is the right lung and left lung. Each bronchus, the trachea, after continuously going, each bronchus divides into bronchioles. These are called bronchioles. Right, we will discuss about the pathway of air, about each and every part. So first one is the nose. The opening of nose contains two openings. Those two openings are called nostrils, through which the air enters into nasal cavity. What are present in nasal cavity means hair-like structures, means they are called as internal nares are present, and also wetness is present inside the nose, so that if any bacteria present in the air which we are inspiring, it is stopped by the wetness of nose, and also the air whatever entering, it is filtered by hair present in the nasal cavity. That is the function of nasal cavity. And from here it goes to pharynx part. Pharynx is a muscular chamber which is common for the passage of air, food and water. And epiglottis, whatever the epiglottis structure is present, it because of the help of nervous regulation prevents the entry of food and water into esophagus. So it diverts air to lungs. It diverts air to larynx. Okay. Next one, so here epiglottis acts as a flap-like structure, very very important part. Next one, larynx. Larynx is also called voice box. Here two vocal cords are present. The air which is coming out vibrates the two vocal cords, so that it comes out in the form of whatever we perform, either in the form of speech or songs or in the form of poems. Okay. That is why larynx is called voice box. Next, after larynx, the structure is called trachea. Trachea is also called windpipe or air pipe. It contains C-shaped cartilaginous rings, which prevents the entry of food and water and protects the trachea from collapsing and closing. And the trachea is divided into two branches called bronchus, right bronchus, left bronchus, which enters into lungs. Each bronchus further divided into branches called bronchioles. These are called bronchioles. Each bronchiole contains alveoli. Alveoli are called structural and functional unit of lungs. Okay, we will discuss about the structure of lungs. Generally, lungs are spongy elastic structures. Lungs are spongy elastic structures. Right lung is larger than left lung. Because of the reason, heart is slightly tilted towards left side. Heart is slightly towards left side. That is why right lung is larger than left lung. Next, so the place which is occupied by heart, so it seems to be small compared with the right lung. Lungs contain thousands of structures called alveoli, which perform gaseous exchange. Gaseous exchange. That is why alveoli are called structural and functional units of lungs. These lungs are protected on all sides by rib cage. Lungs are protected on all sides by rib cage and also supported by backbone. And the fluid that is surrounding the lungs, so the fluid that is surrounding the lungs, it is surrounded by, actually lungs are surrounded by double layered, thin transparent double layered membrane called pleura. This pleura is filled with a fluid called pleural fluid. This pleural fluid protects the lungs from shocks and injuries. Okay, so this is about the structure of lungs. Now we will discuss about the function, mechanism of respiration. Mechanism of respiration. To understand this, we have to draw the diagram of mechanism of respiration. One more important point is right lung has 3 lobes, whereas left lung has 2 lobes. In the middle, heart is present. And this is the rib bone. And there is a muscle here called diaphragm. And this is the chest wall muscle. Okay, chest wall muscle. Right, the mechanism of respiration involves 2 stages. One is inspiration, another one is the expiration. Inspiration is also called inhalation, expiration is also called exhalation. Taking air into the body is called inspiration. Sending air from the body to outside is called expiration. So let's discuss what are the changes that are going to happen inside the lungs during inspiration and expiration. During inspiration, the volume of the lungs increase and the thoracic cavity comes forward or chest cavity comes forward, and the volume of lungs increase. It means there is no air inside the lungs. Immediately the air from the surroundings rushes into the lungs and air is filling the lungs. So this is called inspiration. Then both the lungs perform expiration. During expiration, the chest cavity goes backward, and here one more important is muscle, diaphragm. During inspiration, the diaphragm, whatever the diaphragm, a flattened muscle is there, it is also played a crucial role. During inspiration, first the chest cavity come forward or the thoracic cavity increases and the diaphragm goes backward, volume of lungs increase. It means there is no air inside. So immediately air from surroundings rushes into the lungs. And when the lungs perform expiration, the diaphragm comes forward, chest cavity or thoracic cavity goes backward, volume of lungs size decrease, air pressure in the lungs increase. To escape from this pressure, air from the lungs goes to outside. So in reverse pathway means from alveoli, bronchioles, bronchus, trachea, larynx, pharynx, nasal cavity, nostrils to outside. During inspiration, nose, nostrils, nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchus, bronchioles and alveoli, like this. This is the inspiration, and the reverse pathway is the expiration. So this is about the mechanism of respiration in human beings. What play major role in men and women? Means ribs play major role in women in respiration, whereas diaphragm play major role in men in respiration. Okay, so this is about the mechanism of respiration in human beings, and we will discuss about another topic in the next class.